We're here with Tina Thompson, WNBA Hall of Famer, 17 years in the WNBA, 4 championships with the Houston Comets, 2 gold medals, college coach, so much more. But I'm excited that you're here with us today to really dive deep into Meet the Athlete. Christina Wagner, Amazon freight partner. You're here with us today. You've been in the business since 2022. Super excited for you to be here, based in Seattle. I think there's a lot for us to learn from you and your success and some of the things that you've done. And Tina being someone that wanted to do this business. Thank you for being here today and ready to listen and learn from kind of what you have experienced in the freight business.
Cool. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Christina, can you tell us a little bit more about how the program works and some of the things that you've kind of navigated through this partnership?
Yeah. So the AFP program is really cool. It's unique for someone who wants to start a business. It's a great way to do it because, that process in general can be really intimidating and overwhelming. But Amazon's created a system and a framework that you just have to follow the steps naturally. Almost like bowling, when you go bowling, you use those bumpers to keep your ball out of the gutter. It's a lot like that. They just keep you going the right direction, which is awesome because in this industry, there's a lot of compliance aspects to it, and it can be really tricky to navigate that world. But Amazon is there to help work with you through it. They provide a lot of the resources that you need. They have support using the business coaches. And so everything is there for you. So honestly, it's kind of like a slam dunk.
Yeah, it's like a slam dunk. I think it's important to we talked about this earlier with Tina. She was excited about this business before the pandemic happened. And, she had all the mentors lined up, everybody ready to give her the keys to the trucks. And COVID happened and things shifted and prices went up. And so she deviated from the business because it became a dog-eat-dog thing. And after you listen to her, she's only doing things that she's passionate about. And so I'll let Tina speak for herself, but this is something that she has been passionate about or thought out, looked into. And so someone like yourself can give her some advice on kind of, leaning in a little bit deeper, the right partners. Some of the things that she actually talked about, you said that's kind of what deterred you is what, kind of how people started to kind of not be so open and change versus now these new set guidelines that kind of pave the work. And the key thing that we kept talking about too earlier was the work. And she immediately came in and said, you'll be successful if you do the work. And that's what we talked about your career and everything that these young players are going through. So you just continuous the cadence of kind of the work.
Yeah. I mean, the mindset of an athlete carries over to this so perfectly. The one thing that Amazon provides and it addresses that hurdle that you faced is with this program, my responsibility is to build the team. So I have Wagner and Company as our company, and we have our own team of CDL drivers. But with the partnership with Amazon, they're providing the Amazon branded tractors, the trailers, we're hauling their freight. So we don't have to worry about, lack of stuff to haul. Like it's consistent. It's there. The work just needs to get done. And so my biggest responsibility is to keep a fully staffed team of quality drivers that are, showing up on time, getting the work done. And that's essentially the gist of it right there. And what's cool with an opportunity like this, when you're starting your own business, it's tough to find something where you can be profitable your first year. Yeah. And with this, right out the gate, you're scaling up quickly. It's a lot of hard work. It does get easier. Yeah. I'm a one-woman show and I'm doing it because of all of the support that Amazon provides.
Well, I was curious as to how you got started. What was kind of the motivating factor? What inspired you?
So I had never heard of this program until my friend from college, Shannon Rhodes, the owner of Roads on Roads, she started the program a couple years before I got into it. And at the time, I was actually the director of a merchandising department for a big beverage company. And I was super stressed out. COVID had its impacts. And I was struggling. It was also a male-dominated industry. I was struggling in my role to be heard for the things that I needed to properly support my team to effectively do our job. And those are the frustrations that I was venting, I think, one day to Shannon. And she was like, have you ever thought about becoming an AFP? because the work you're doing here and leading this team, that would carry right over into this kind of thing. And I was like, I don't have logistics or trucking experience. Like, how would I even do it? And she's like, you don't even need to worry about that. As long as you have the right mindset, you know how to put in the work, you know how to lead teams. That's the main focus. And Amazon helps support you with everything else. And so I took a deep breath and was like, okay, I'm listening. How do I get started? And so she put my name in the hat to get that conversation going. And then, I was off in the running.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's really, really, so how big is your team today?
We have about 30 drivers. So I have 15 trucks right now. So each of those trucks is contracted where you have 2 drivers assigned to each truck. And then the way Amazon does it is you get an extra truck. So 1 truck per 5 that you have as a perma loaner. So if you have any trucks that are down for maintenance issues or mechanical issues, or it's just an extra truck that you have on hand so that you can keep things moving. Because stuff happens, maintenance happens, mechanical breakdowns, and we don't want to have a reason to not keep those trucks going and drivers driving.
Got it. So what was the cost of entry, if you don't mind? So you didn't start off at 15 trucks. You started off, where did you start off? Did you start off with 15 trucks?
Nope. So we started off with 3.
Okay.
And it was a quick scale up over the course of 3 months. The goal was to keep adding a couple of trucks like every couple of weeks. And I just did my best to keep up with that. When it comes to the cost of entry, though, they want you to have a minimum of $40,000 available on hand. And you're not paying that to Amazon. You're using those funds to essentially do all of your hiring, start paying your initial drivers, just all of the things that go into just starting the business.
Got it.
I would probably recommend having maybe a little bit extra on hand. When we launched, we were going into the winter season. And that meant there were some extra costs involved and things that I could set up for the trucks to make sure they were prepared. But also, what I learned quickly with that ramp going so fast is I was just hiring. And it was my focus. And, when you're a one-woman show, you're doing the hiring, you're doing the onboarding, the training. And when you're onboarding drivers, CDL drivers, there's a lot that goes into it. And this was one of my first moments of like, what am I doing? Because we partner with JJ Keller, which is our safety compliance experts, and they're phenomenal at helping out with that. But when you have multiple people in the onboarding phase to join your team, there's a lot to keep track of. And they're helping you manage, MVRs for drivers, drug screens, reviewing their applications. Like there's just so much. And you have to get all these things done before they can actually be eligible to drive for you.
One of the things that immediately comes to my thought when you're talking about drivers is insurance.
Yeah.
And so how are you, insuring, what does that look like? Insurance for these drivers, things happen.
Great point. So the way Amazon's done it, like we said, they have the framework already set up for you. So we use a company called McGriff. Amazon has all of that set up, and they are essentially insuring all of our drivers and all of our trucks.
Got it.
So I don't have to worry as much about those details of the business. It's already done. I just got to get it set up and keep drivers, actively listed.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I asked, when you think about an athlete, right, and it's attractive, they're limiting liability. And so when you think about insurance, you want to be protected. And an athlete trains, they know how they can protect themselves. When you're jumping into a new business, you want to make sure that there's levels of protection, right? So you're depending on other individuals, right? Like your teammates, these become your teammates. And so the reason why I ask for insurance, because there needs to be a trusted factor on the back end if something does go wrong. Not that we're looking for worst case, but just looking at business. That's where my mind immediately went was, how am I going to be safe? And how do other athletes get excited about this? Because they're already afraid. They're already afraid to take that risk. So those are things that get people excited about, especially athletes excited about kind of jumping into something like this and kind of scaling it and pushing it faster.
What's been cool for me and my team, and one of the alluring factors, is the fact that we still have that small team mindset. So everyone gets to know each other. We have that vibe. But you also have Amazon, and they've got it all figured out.
And what's your goal, right? Like you're at 15 now.
Yeah.
What's the next goal?
I want to grow as big as Amazon will allow.
Yeah.
So being based out of Seattle, the demand might not necessarily be at that location. I'm open to other domicile cities. I could expand that way. There's a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
And this is also an industry that's evolving.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to just be open and fluid to wherever direction it goes. I'm on board that train.
And all that you've said, the things that have been consistent is the opportunity, the support. But more than anything, what excites me is that you seem so happy and that you're really enjoying like what you're doing.
Yeah.
And, for athletes, that is so much a part of like what we do. Like you're literally every day getting to wake up and do something that you truly love and enjoy doing. And this is the first time that we've like met, but I can see like your excitement and just you're happy at like what you're doing and in the space that you're in right now. And that's inviting.
That is.
Well, in that past job when I was a director of merchandising, I was limited by executive leadership and the decisions they made for me and my team. In this, I'm empowered to make the choices I want to make for my team, my people, take care of them the way that I want to do it.
Yeah.
And honestly, that's the most fulfilling job I can possibly have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to ask the question or say this. You've talked about how great it is, right? And the beautiful things and how exciting it is. But what are some of the hurdles? What are some of the things that, you know what I mean? Like just some things that so people don't go into this, athletes are going to be super excited about this. I'm sure Tina's sitting here rethinking like, okay, this is a real opportunity. What are the things that are the unexpected? Give us a few things that kind of may catch us by surprise.
Yeah. Well, in this role, I mean, anything can happen. You're dealing with humans, and you have to honestly enjoy problem solving. Every day is something different. The biggest challenges when it came to launching was just being one person and trying to do it all. So in those first few months, I was working 7 days a week, minimum 12 hours a day, constantly doing something for the business. And I was all over the place, back and forth, working at my home office, going to the yard where all the trucks are kept, just trying to keep things moving and be as supportive as I could be for those initial drivers I was bringing on. And then the hard part too with that was, as a new company, I didn't have the infrastructure created yet to train these new drivers. So I was really blessed from the fact that I had Shannon Rhodes, the owner of Roads on Roads, available, and her team was well established. And so they were so kind to help me out. I got to borrow some of their trainers, put my new drivers in the trucks with her people as I could build up and grow. And I don't know how I would have done it without her.
That's awesome.
I like the fact that, this is going to give that particular person or athlete to understand that it's going to take work. There's a lot of tools, but if you're willing to put in the work, there's success on the other side of that.
Definitely.
And that's what it sounds like. And to Tina's point, you look very happy. You're smiling.
Authentically happy.
Yeah, authentically happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that speaks volumes. Tina, when you originally thought about getting into freight, where did that come from though? Like when, you said, hey, this was before COVID, pre-COVID, right? And you were like, hey, I'm interested in doing these trucks. And was it just something you had saw? Was there someone you had saw success in this business before? Or, where did it come from?
Well, one of my dad's best friends, they met like in the kindergarten. In kindergarten, I affectionately refer to him as my uncle. For a career, he was in the business of truck driving, and just kind of fascinated like by that, but also the fact that being a former WNBA player, it's necessary to have things working like outside of the WNBA. You could have an amazing career, but it's not financially supportive like for a lifetime, even though I literally played 17 seasons in the WNBA. In order to maintain the lifestyle that I wanted to have, I had to go into a second career.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point, especially when you've had success at a certain level, that you want to be in charge. You don't want to be limited by the structures that someone else is putting in place. Yeah. You've worked so hard to a point that you're like, I want to make decisions for myself. Like I want to create a business or a place or space to treat people the way I wanted to be treated, to give them a voice and an avenue to also be successful, but do it in a way that it's enjoyable. Like for me, we talked about just kind of your own personal constitution. Like I don't do things or stay in places too long that don't make me happy or don't speak to, the person that I am, and that I genuinely wake up every day excited about going to work, to the point that it feels like it's not work.
Yeah.
You're just doing something that you truly enjoy doing. And then also, like, as much as I am a guy's girl, I'm also a girl.
Yeah.
So I want to create spaces for women to be in a place that they have like a comfort zone, but also are doing something that's not traditionally a space or place for women.
Yeah, that's really, really, I love that. So in this program, what's the onboarding process? Is there, do you go online and sign up? Like, what does that look like? When Shannon Rhodes on Rhodes kind of gave you that, we giving her a lot of shout outs.
She deserves it.
Yeah. What was that onboarding process? Does she have to, invite you? Was there like a person she put you in contact with? How does that look for the average person or individual or athlete that doesn't have access? What's that process look like?
I believe anyone can submit interest and get that process started. For me, because I did have Shannon, she did submit my information to, I think, her business coach, and that helped me get noticed, essentially. Yeah. But other than that, the process for me was the same as it is for everybody else. And there are multiple steps throughout their kind of interview process to actually get through and accepted into the program. And it was pretty intense. You go through the process of writing, multiple essay format style questions that I had to complete. I know there was even a virtual interview portion where it was being recorded, but you weren't speaking to anyone. And so it was kind of awkward. And then there was also a multiple panel.
You said speaking to people?
But
I got that.
It was virtual, though. There was no one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm out.
Yeah, there was no one there to talk to, so it was kind of awkward.
All right,
but then you do move on to actually talking to people, and there are, I think, 5 people that I had to go through back-to-back interviews with. And once I got through all of that,
that's
then you have to wait, and see if you were accepted.
You bring me in on that part.
You're the closer.
I'm the closer.
Yeah, that's where I shine too.
Yeah,
it was good. All the other stuff,
writing essays.
I know.
I'm out.
And those are the things
that's why I got a
almost.
wife. She can help me write the essays.
But those are the things that almost deterred me from trying to go for it. Essentially, it was intimidating.
Yeah.
But I just was like, you know what? What do you have to lose? Might as well go for it and see where it takes you. So did it. Here I am. Once I got accepted into the program, I did wait a year before I was able to launch my business.
Got it.
So you have to wait until the time is right. The demand is there. They've got it set up for you.
That's really, really dope.
Cool. So, Christine, I have a question for you. Like, now that you've kind of gone through all the like steps and the trials and tribulations of just becoming acclimated to the trucking business, what are your hours like now?
So it's still evolving. It's still a one-woman show, but things have calmed down a bit, which is nice. I have a little more flexibility with life, which is great. I've got time, go get my nails done, which is a nice perk. Self-care matters. But it's still busy. It's still 7 days a week. When you've got an interview you want to get done, doesn't matter if it's Sunday morning, you got to get it done to get those people on board. But it's much smoother. It's much easier. I'd say actual hours spent working dedicated, I would say between 20 to 30 doing the tasks that the business demands. And then there's just additional time spent because it is what you make it. And as much energy as you want to put into it is how you're going to grow and how successful your team's going to be. So I tend to go above and beyond, spending more time at the yard, seeing my team, making sure they have everything they need and they feel supported. I think it's important. But my goal is to start branching out and identifying some leaders on my team and people who want to step up, and I can teach them some of the administrative responsibilities and how to lead the team and not just be a trainer, but be maybe an operations manager. And then I can step back a little bit and maybe oversee everything while they're really doing more of the day-to-day grind. But that's an active process that I'm in right now, trying to identify the right people.
But even though you've grown so much in such a short period of time, you're still like 3-4 years young, right?
Yeah.
Like you're still in the beginning.
We've only
processes of it.
actually been in business for just over a year.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, wow.
The process started in 2022.
Oh, wow.
But then working through everything, it takes time. It's not an overnight process.
Okay.
So 2024 was big for you.
Yes.
Wow.
Huge.
Okay.
I like that.
Yes.
Huge. I love
2025 is going to look good too.
Okay. I may need to become a partner of yours. To finish up. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, we definitely should figure out this freight business. This sounds very appetizing. Very appetizing. Not only, I love it for people that have a true entrepreneur spirit, but there's tools. I had to figure out everything by myself. There was no help. That, and I also wasn't looking for help, but I also didn't know where to look for help. You know what I mean? And so I love the fact that there's so many different tools and so many different, and a trusted partner that will there's guided success and almost incubated internal success that you kind of know that there's things it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And so athletes kind of like regimen and kind of, routine and some of those
Clear
things.
expectations. Yeah. That's one thing that Amazon does very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it comes to their ramp up, they want you to be successful, but they also want you to push yourself. And I excel in that kind of environment, so it works for me. And they also provide, all of the pieces to the puzzle are there for you. So there's no mystery. You just have to use it effectively, stay efficient with your time, organized, manage your time well, and you'll be successful.
Yeah.
So when it comes to ramping up that quickly, anyone can do it. You just got to follow the steps, trust the process, and you'll get through it.
So you started with 3 trucks, right? But then you've been in business for 1 year and now you're at 15.
Yeah.
So how much time in between? Was it based on the
quick
success that you were having? Or is it just like...
They mapped it out to be the first 3 months. And it was also during peak. So peak for Amazon is October through the end of December.
Okay.
And so I was launching mid-October. And so every couple of weeks, I was getting more trucks. And as long as I could keep up with the hiring to fill those trucks, the growth kept happening. It was a little more challenging in the Seattle market for hiring. So that wasn't as fast as I would have liked, but I just stayed diligent every day working towards that goal. And so it was probably a month delayed before I got to my full capacity, essentially. But we got there. And ever since then, we've been able to maintain full trucks, full team. All of it's gone very smoothly. But yeah, that initial phase of ramping up that quickly, it's intense.
Oh, it's fast. I know.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 3 years. She
Yeah.
said a year.
No, literally, because I mean, the date was that I recall was 2022. So I'm thinking like now we're going into 2025. It's like, wow.
And it was a different experience for me than it was for Shannon when she started her company. And so you never know how it's going to be. I think it matters the time of year that you get on board and launch. But yeah, you got to be prepared for that.
Christina, we really appreciate you for coming here and sharing kind of your success and some of the things that you've seen. And we really want to dive deep with the AFP team a little, to get more understanding of kind of how Tina can, and myself now, can get involved in this. And but really thank you for your time and looking forward to see your continued success in the AFP program.
Thank you. And I'm happy to pay it forward too. Everyone's been so helpful for me. If anyone else wants to join the team, I'm happy to help.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Thank
you. You were very informative.
Thank you.
In a light, you were smiling a lot. You're excited. Tina called it. She was like, "You're genuinely happy. You look genuinely happy."
I am.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard work, but I must like hard work too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're in good company.
Yeah.
Y'all kind of feel the same way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We talked about that a lot. The work.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the mantra of the day. Loving the work will get you there every time.
Yeah. Take pride in what you do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank
You
you.
were great. Thank you.
Cool.